Fill her up.
You're listening to the Gas Digital Network.
I went online to become a private detective. It was a private detective school online, and I paid online. I never heard from them again. I thought to myself, I either got ripped off, or this is my first case. This is a journalistic podcast, Shannon. We vaccinate our listeners with answers. And I'm going to keep lip-syncing the important questions until TikTok gives me a show. Shannon, how can the moon landing be real if the moon itself is fake?
It's not true, Mike.
Oh, isn't it true, Shannon? You're fake. You're a hologram.
1 in 5 New Yorkers are food insecure. What's your solution for that, Mike?
Fortune cookie. Because that's food and advice at the same time. Shannon, at least have the decency to backstab me, okay? You stab me in the front every time. Some fans can't watch the podcast because they're triggered by our sexuality. And message to those fans, we will leak a sex tape right into your mouth.
This is Mike Vecchione Investigates.
And you're not better than me. Welcome to another episode of Mike Vecchione Investigates. It's your boy, Mike Vecchione, and I'm flying solo today. So if you're looking for a guest, you are not going to find one. You can search high, you can search low, but there are no guests in the small studio, which I was bullied into today. I was scheduled to be in the large studio, but there was another podcast, and I'm using air quotes for those of you who can't afford a computer. I was scheduled to be in the large studio because I need a lot of space for my podcast to breathe and to get to all the corners of certain investigations. But another podcast ran long, and therefore we had the scheme of using the broom closet podcasting center, which is where I am now, and we were bullied. And if you're looking for examples of bullying in schools, it's not just in schools. It's in podcasting studios where one podcast has to go to a corner. We are in the timeout room of studios. But do we let that get us down? No, we don't. We take our anger, we push it down, we push it down, we push it down, we push it down. We write a manifesto. We go get a chainsaw, and we come in, and we set the record straight. Not with violence, but we are going to use a verbal chainsaw, okay? And we are going to set things straight that way. So we're going to take our venom that we have, and we're going to transmute it. We're going to take adversity, transmute it into victory. It's been a mantra of this podcast. You can put us in the small studio. You could put us in the bathroom, which I've been on record as saying before. I think that's our next step. They will try to put us in the bathroom, and then they will have us broadcast live from the toilet. But we will not bend. We will not change our content. I will not have these quote unquote high profile guests on to try to pull us out of the proverbial toilet. I will hold steady. I will keep taking cold showers. I will keep drinking 1 cup of coffee a morning and maybe 1 in the afternoon. I will keep doing a bear crawl workout every other day. And I will keep doing my stretches and my breathing practices until we are number 1 on the entire network. And then I will rule it. And then I will be in the big studio with a crown on. And I will be looking over everybody else. And I will release my dragons. I'm taking this to Game of Thrones now because that's the analogy I'm making for those of you who are a little slow, which is most of you. And I will make the dragon my own, and I will burn every other podcast who tries to come after us. And that's clearly what's happening here. It's vindictive. It's a behind-the-scenes kind of thing that they don't say at Shannon's weekly meetings. It's in hushed tones around the water cooler probably here at Gas Digital. But they're after us. It's clear that they are after us, and they've made us target number 1 in order to trash us and to take us down. And they're using these little manipulative moves in order to take us out. But we are strong. And we do not care. And there was no air on when I came in today. They were trying to sweat us out. And it does not matter because we on this podcast are impervious to conditions. We'll do it in a gutter if we have to. And we will have to pretty soon from the way things are conspiring here. I brought my own coffee in because I was afraid of poisoning. I'm going to be honest about that. Not that Shannon would poison me. I think that there's other darker forces at work here in the Gas Digital studio. People who don't want us to succeed. People who want us broadcasting from the corners of the studio and not in the middle of the studio. And there are dark forces at work. So I started preparing myself. I coated my stomach with milk, a la Batman. There's a Batman episode where he knows he's going to get poisoned and he coats his stomach with milk, and it counteracts the poison. And that's what I've done this morning because I didn't know where the attacks are going to come from. So, and I got my own coffee, thank God, because I know Shannon would never poison me. I think we have a real connection and a bond, and she doesn't want to lose this podcast to an untimely death or a murder, as it would be, an assassination, because this podcast is it's very good. So when something's good, it's an assassination. And so I don't think it's coming from Shannon. I think Shannon would do everything within her womanly powers, and women are powerful. She would do everything within her womanly powers in order to protect this podcast. And I don't think she would let it happen. But Shannon's not here 24 hours a day. Shannon doesn't sleep here, okay? Even though this studio is bug-free, Shannon refuses to sleep here. She will take a boat or a bus back to Staten Island, and she will not sleep here. Even though I kind of wish she would, to watch our back. But my point is that you never know where the attacks are going to come from here at Gas Digital. With Skankfest so close, they want us nice and weak before Skankfest because they know stand-up is my strong suit, and I'm going to shine like a beautiful light that comes from the moon, which is now proven to be fake. So the word is out. I can feel it. It's like no one has to lay it out in a memo. You know, the memo hasn't gone out that our podcast is target number one of this Gas Digital studio. But the messages are clear, the little subtle messages. We're going to put you in a smaller space. We're going to turn off the air to try to suffocate the creativity out of you. And message received. But we will keep podcasting our ass off. And I'm sorry to offend a lot of our Christian listeners or those without a backside, those with the flat butt. It was not meant to offend you because we include everybody on this podcast and we try to lift you up. That's what we're trying to do on this podcast. Shannon calls it harsh. Other people call it aggressive, but it's a little thing in the 80s, what we used to call tough love. So for those of you not able to digest it, maybe you need like more of a comic hang. But for those of you who choose to stay, you guys are the Navy SEALs of podcasting. You can handle it. You're dangerous. You go out into the world and you're dangerous. So because you have the information and you have the investigatory tools in order to investigate when someone is trying to push you out onto the street of a podcast studio that you've called your home for the past 4 years. And they're trying to push you out, and they're trying to, it's subtle, it's slow and incremental is a big word for you guys. I understand that, even though incremental, it's ironic, which is another word that you probably don't get, but incremental steps, small, when someone pushes you just a little bit, incremental, they're incrementally pushing you until you're in a corner of a smaller studio wondering what happened. But you understand that it's bullying and you understand what's happening and you've chosen to take your revenge through elite level podcasting, which is what I've chosen to do here. Am I the only one facing adversity? Not really, because I went and stopped by when I was getting my non-poison coffee today. I was at the deli, the local deli, and I thought a woman was going to cut me, and I was going to really kind of lose it, but she didn't. She was standing, when you're in line and then someone stands next to you, it's like, well, you're not really understanding the concept of a line. You should be behind me. You shouldn't be adjacent to me. That's not a line. You should be behind. But she stood adjacent to me, and I guess that she thought in her little head that if she just waits her turn, that constitutes a line. But it doesn't. She's already in breach. She's already in breach by standing next to me, unless it's a vertical or a horizontal line. Should have been a vertical line. For those of you who don't know geometric terms, I'm sorry I'm confusing you. Just think horizontal is horizon, and vertical is up and down. Okay, I don't know if that helps. That wasn't a very good explanation. Horizon is horizontal, like the sun comes up over the horizon. I'm doing this podcast like a spelling bee now, where I explain the word that I'm trying to enunciate in sentences so that you have it. But she was standing horizontally. She was standing next to me instead of behind me, and I think that she thought that was okay, and that's not okay. But would have been not more okay is she would have cut me in line, because she was just getting a paper and I was getting a paper and a coffee. And it turns out the lady in front of me was doing a subtle little move that I discovered, which is she had a lot of groceries and a son, which is also counts as baggage. I don't know if she got the son in the store. I don't think they sell young boys in the store. If they are selling young boys, they shouldn't be. That's human trafficking, from what my research tells me. Anyway, she had a young boy with her, and just a cavalcade of groceries, which I don't know why you would shop for groceries at a corner store where everything's marked up 500%, but I don't know, maybe you have money like that. Maybe you're flossing, as the kids say. Flossing, and that's not cleaning your teeth as I grew up knowing it. It's the rapper term, which means you're showing your wealth in an aggressive, arrogant way in order to make other people feel less than. So she was flossing a little bit with her groceries. I have eggs, I have bacon. And then right when she pays, and then her son spotted some gummy bears and was like, I want this. And if I was watching her parenting, I'm not a parent myself, but I oversee parents and I watch to see what's good and what's bad. And she thankfully said, no, we're not getting that. And the kid handled it well, which means I've seen some kids do that and flip out. And how are those kids? I was watching one kid, he asked for candy and the mother said no. And he had a complete tantrum. It almost looked like he was doing jiu-jitsu on himself. That's how he collapsed. He was holding his breath. It just looked like he was fighting a demon, an imaginary demon. And it just looked crazy. And I couldn't help but think to myself, how is that kid going to handle a divorce? I mean, it's not going to be when, he wasn't able to get candy, but what about when someone goes, I'm going to take half of your stuff, okay, because this isn't working out, and then you lose basically all of your possessions. Then how do you handle that? That kid is going to his head's going to explode. If he can't handle candy being taken from him now, how's he going to handle a divorce and half of his belongings in the future? Just something to think about. Anyway, this lady's in line. She has her bacon. She has her eggs. I don't know. She was shopping for a breakfast buffet. Anyway, she's in line, and she did this thing where it's like she kind of kept shopping. It's a small store. She was like, is that ceviche over there? A ceviche? I don't know what that is. It's like a hot sauce. So she goes over, gets it, brings it back, and then she forgot something. So it's like you're shopping while you're paying, and there's other people in line. Well, I'm in line. The lady next to me was not in line. She was adjacent to me horizontally, which she created her own line, it seems. So I have multitasking breakfast mom trying to grocery shop as she's paying. And then I have competitive woman who's supposed to be behind me in line right next to me trying to edge me out with her newspaper. So it was a lot of pressure this morning at the deli trying to get here. And but I had to make sure that I had non-poison coffee, and I knew it was going to be all on me today. Usually I can lean on a guest a little bit for the investigations and what do you think, and there's a back and forth, but there's no back and forth today. It's just me in a studio the size of a broom closet, and I'm here and I'm alone, and I'm able to do the investigations without anybody. And sometimes this makes you stronger. And sometimes it knocks you down and you're unable to get up. But sometimes you take a cold shower, you take a nap, you get back up, you get a cup of coffee, non-poison, and you come back stronger. Overcoming adversity is a big part of this podcast. Nobody believes in us. We believe in ourselves. Just like what I'm wearing right now, a lot of people who are not football fans, or a lot of our fans don't understand football or competition for that matter, but the Philadelphia Eagles have started off 4-0. I'm very proud of them. I lived in Philadelphia for 8 years. I started following the team. There was a Super Bowl win a few years ago before the pandemic, and now they started the season 4-0. Where's it going to go? I hope it goes to another Super Bowl title. But if it doesn't, I'm happy to represent them. I will wear this through wins, through losses, through attempted poisonings, through small studio excommunications. I will wear this. So that's what's going on with me right now. I woke up on the right side of the bed, you could say. I'll tell you who else who's facing adversity in the newspaper right now. It's Tom Brady, maybe a name that you know. If you're not a football fan, maybe you've been watching Hertz commercials. And Gisele Bündchen. Bündchen. She's a supermodel, so I don't want to mess up her name. Supermodels are elite. Supermodels are not even people, really. They're celestial beings. They're somewhere between a human and a god. So you have a supermodel. And unfortunately, first of all, I'm a huge Tom Brady fan, and you wouldn't think because I'm wearing Eagles green. Tom Brady is not on the Eagles. And but I like the way he conducts himself. He's a champion, and he continues. It's not so much that he's a champion and he gets the results of being a 7-time Super Bowl champion, but it's his practice and how he works out every day, and his dedication and his mindset is what I love about Tom Brady. And I'll never stop loving Tom Brady, unlike Gisele, who is divorcing him. But I will never stop loving Tom Brady because of the way he conducts himself and his championship mentality. I try to adopt the same championship mentality. And I kind of am doing what Tom is doing. Tom is quarterbacking a team, and I'm kind of quarterbacking this podcast. I come in, I look over the defense, which is the studio, and I'm sometimes not in the best situation, but I persevere anyway, just like Tom Brady becoming a champion. Gisele is also a champion in her own way. She's a supermodel, and that's a step above being a model. Models are great. Everybody wants to party with models. We fancy ourselves on this podcast being somewhat models. We're very attractive. This podcast has a sexual feel to it. We don't intend it to be that way. We're family friendly, yet still oozing with sexuality. And I don't mean to gross people out by saying oozing with sexuality, but our sexuality is not liquid. It's not dripping all over the place, because that would be gross. It's oozing out in I don't know if there's an Italian feel to this, but I hate to compare it to mozzarella cheese, but there's an oozing to it, like it's melted. It's congealed, our sexuality. And a lot of people are turned on by that. So do we know what it's like to be supermodels? No, that's elite level. But we're models for sure. In this podcast realm, we are definitely models. We're attractive enough, and I'm looking up at myself now and just checking to see if what I'm saying is valid, and it checks out. It checks out. We're models for people under 5'9" who are here, and we're very sexy too. Do we fit all the height and weight requirements that the doctors say is model material? No, we don't. But we are working class models, blue collar, lunch pail models. But we're still models. But Gisele is a supermodel, and that's an elite level. And she's married to Tom Brady, and they can't make it work. Now, I don't know what the issue is. I think they're both busy, but people can be busy and people can still make a marriage work. Mike, you don't know what you're talking about. You've never made a marriage work. True. True, but number one, watch your tone with me, because I don't take kindly to that, and I will rebel, and I will flip out, and I will have a tantrum, much like I saw a kid in a grocery store have one. He flipped out. But I have been living my life a certain way, and it's not been conducive to a marriage. Going out, doing stand-up, doing a stand-up on weekends, bowling alleys for years and years, country clubs, bowling alleys, and now doing a podcast from a small studio. Like, there's a progression, and you have to put your 1,000 hours in, your 10,000 hours. 1,000 hours is maybe for supermodels, but for the rest of us, 10,000 hours. Anyway, they're both busy, and I think the story was that Tom was supposed to retire after last year, but he did a left turn. I think that's what it's called at the DMV. He did a left turn and came back this year because he's still performing at a high level, and he figures, why waste it? His kids are like getting older, and he's already a dad, but he doesn't need to be there all the time. He doesn't want to be a helicopter parent. He doesn't want to be that. So he figured, let me get another year in. And Gisele reportedly flipped out because she says, and rightfully so, she's put her modeling career on hold so that she could do all of the domestic tasks while Tom goes out and rehabs and throws a football and does all his training. So now Gisele wants some time to go out and pursue her career and the environment, which is her passion, I think, to protect the glaciers because the polar bears need somewhere to live. And but I think that she makes a lot of money, and she's a supermodel, and she wants to do her passion. And it's not sharing, it's not equal, because Tom had his time and she thought it was over so that he would take over the reins of the household, pick up the kids from school, drop the kids off, make the lunches. And you're at home probably going, Mike, these people have money. They don't have to make the lunches. You make the lunches with love, you pieces of trash at home who don't care about your kids. God, I get so frustrated with you. You think that money just solves everything? My mother made me a lunch, okay? And was it the best lunch in the world? No. It was from like a Soviet prison camp, really. She made one piece of meat in the bread, and my mother conserved it because there were 3 of us, and a piece of fruit, and then a snack, which constituted some pretzels or something, and some carrot sticks, which my mom thought was healthy. But it wasn't the best lunch in the world. It wasn't. She made it for me, and she made it with love. Granted, she had to split the love up between the 3 of us, and some of us didn't get as much love as others of us, and some of us were disappointed with the amount of pretzels that we had versus the ratio of carrots, which there always seemed to be a little bit more of. But she did it with love, and she would leave me a note that said, have a good day, and I love you. And that meant more than the skimpiness of the food that she packed. And Tom and Gisele need to make their kids lunch. You can't depend on an au pair or whatever it's called in French, a nanny. Because the nannies, first of all, mostly try to sleep with the man of the house. And Tom Brady is handsome. I'll say it. Call me names. Call me names. Let Reddit rip on it. Tom Brady is handsome. And if you hire a nanny, she is going to try to have sex with Tom Brady. Touchdown. In the nanny world, they call it touchdown. Okay? And then Gisele is over here, and she's living her best life. But then the nanny, who is not a supermodel, is probably just a regular model, moves in and sleeps with Tom Brady. Interception. I'm drawing it out here for you guys. Interception. And she gets intercepted, and then she's alone, and then she's a supermodel. And women are different than men. Men and women are different. Men are from Mars. Women are from Venus. And she probably has a handler or somebody who does her scheduling, a little boy toy, and then she goes off sleeping with him. Because women need comfort and security and safety and love. But she probably will go in that direction. And you can't have that. So bringing in outside help, you're almost inviting the enemy into the home. That's what I'm saying. And Tom Brady cannot afford to have an affair with a nanny, and Gisele cannot sleep with her driver. Okay? And that's what would happen if you just live your own lives. You have to make a conscious effort to stay together. Get back in that huddle. You need to get the family back in a huddle and figure out how you can keep it together. But instead of hiring nannies and drivers and all these other people who can get in the way, what they've done is hired divorce lawyers, and Gisele is no longer wearing her ring. And when you take the ring off, that means the marriage is over. I don't know how you guys feel about it. You're probably not in relationships. My feeling is that you guys are incels. But if you were to have a relationship and the woman were to take her ring off, that's a symbol to me that you don't want to be in it anymore. Even if you're washing the dishes, even if you're doing yoga, even if you're washing your hands or doing something where you might lose the ring, not an excuse. Love conquers all. Love conquers all. You stay in it, you keep the ring on. Pierce your nose, put it through your nose, whatever you have to do to keep the ring on. Because my feeling is once the ring comes off, it's a divorce. And then I'm free to do whatever I want. So if I'm married and the person has a ring and she takes it off, then I'm single. I'm single until she puts the ring back on. It's a symbol. Oh, it's a symbol. These are just words. Podcasting words. It's a symbol. It's a symbol for what? Our love and affection. So you take it off and there's no more love and affection. There's no more love and commitment. Put it back on. Love and commitment is back. Take it off. Love and commitment is gone. Put it back on. Love and commitment is back. Take it off. Love and commitment is gone. Are you following me? You're slow. So please try to follow and keep up. I'm trying to lay it out as clearly and as slowly and as methodically as possible for you at home listening to this or watching. If some of you have got a bonus or are living off your stimulus and got a computer somehow or borrowing your cousins, which I imagine happens a lot in your life. Anyway, the wedding ring is more than a symbol. It's a symbol, and what I'm saying is where the boots hit the ground. Is that the expression? Where the boots on the ground? All right, guys, I want to take a second to talk about our friends over at RockAuto.com. Ever have a friend that has a guy? Nobody can find something, but your friend has a guy? Well, I've got your guy for auto parts, and it's RockAuto.com. They've been in business for 20 years, and while every other business in this country might be raising prices or low on stock, when it comes to auto parts, you've got a guy. I'm telling you, RockAuto.com has the auto parts you need in stock at reliably low prices. If you've got a used car, it's probably appreciated in value. The car market is hot, which is why now's the time to keep your car well maintained. It feels good knowing you're driving a reliable car, and RockAuto.com makes it easy with every part you need at low prices. So go check out RockAuto.com if you're looking for auto parts. Rock Auto is your guy. Everybody needs a guy. RockAuto.com is reliable, guys. They're there for you. They love you, and we love them. It's a little bit of a love triangle, I guess. And let them know we sent you. We want credit. We want you to get the auto parts you need at the best possible prices, but we also are big on getting credit, the narcissists that we are. At checkout, yell at them. And I know about this from Mike Vecchione Investigates. There's a box to put our show name in so that we get the credit for it. Once more, guys, that's RockAuto.com. You get the auto parts you need at the best possible prices. We get credit and can continue living our lavish luxury lifestyles, going on vacations every 2 weeks to some islands where Shannon follows me. But that's got nothing to do with RockAuto.com. They are in business for you. They're your guy. Once more, RockAuto.com with all the auto parts you need at amazing prices. All right, guys, let's get back into it. Rubber meets the road. Maybe that's where you guys, because most of the people are NASCAR fans. That's where the rubber meets the road here. Wedding ring on, you're committed, and you're trying to have a marriage. Wedding ring off, you don't even know me, and you don't even know me like that. And that's the way I feel. And then there's these people who lose their wedding ring. It's like, it's a divorce. You just got divorced. You just got divorced. Well, I didn't mean to lose it. It's like, well, your subconscious did. I believe in the subconscious mind. And I believe if you lost the ring and it's somewhere that you can't find it, then you got to find it, or else we're not married. We're not married anymore. So Gisele was spotted without her ring, and there's been reports that they've both hired divorce lawyers, and now they have to split their property, and they have to do co-parenting now. Co-parenting is a job. It's when you hate the person that you had kids with, and now you've decided to make the best of it and just do a job by raising your children. You're going to do the job. Non-emotionally, objectively, you're going to put your hard hat on and raise your kids. It's not even raising your kids. You're going to co-parent your kids. You're going to co-parent with the person that you used to love and now you can't stand to see. And you have to drop them off at a McDonald's parking lot and pick them up from a McDonald's parking lot. McDonald's used to be known for great burgers and fries and shakes, and now they're known for dropping your kid off to a woman that you used to share a life with so that she could take your kid for the weekend. And you can go out and have some fun, bar hop, like you used to do. Maybe go to Vegas, where I'm going next week, for Skankfest. But that's what McDonald's parking lots are for. They're not for fun. They're not for picking up food. They're not for a great Saturday, an escape meal. It's for dropping your children off to a woman who used to be your everything and now is a co-parent. Now it's your shift work partner that you're dropping your kids off to. So that's Gisele and Tom, are they doing it at a McDonald's? Probably not. They're probably a little more upscale than that. I'm sorry if I'm making you guys feel your feeling poverty-stricken by saying this, but it's the truth. They are upscale, and they probably are making the exchange in a Applebee's parking lot or even an Outback, probably. They seem like steak people. And whereas you guys are burger and fry people, and you will drop your kids off at a McDonald's parking lot. So they're getting a divorce, and it's a shame because I hope Tom Brady wins the Super Bowl now, and I hope Gisele books Glamour magazine or maybe a cover of Us Weekly, which is very big. Meghan Markle's been on a lot. It'd be nice to have an American citizen on there. And so they're living separate lives. I root for them to huddle back up, and I've used that term again, and it's a football term for those of you who are non-aggressive pacifists. In football, between the plays, they huddle up and they have a plan for the next play on how to attack. And so that's what I'm hoping that Gisele and Tom do. I hope that they huddle their family up and they go, Gisele, instead of you going long, which is what you're doing now, why don't you just stay in and protect? Stay in and protect while I throw the ball to one of our kids and we have an amazing future. And we just march down this field of life until we score touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. And that's what I want for Tom and Gisele. And this hurts. This hurts because Tom Brady is a role model. He maybe doesn't want to be, but he's living his life in an exemplary fashion. Gisele is a role model for young women who want to be supermodels but can't. And they're both role models, and I want them together, and I want them as a power couple, and I want them fighting for America. I want them on our team. Teamwork. That's what's happening. Because you don't want it to turn into, and I flipped down the pages of the New York Post, which is my go-to. It's my Bible, if you will, about what's going on in the world. And Brad Pitt and his wife, Mrs. Smith, are getting a divorce. They've been divorced, but now there's allegations that he was abusive. And that he was abusive on a private jet. See, private jets bring out the worst in all of us, I think. Private jets cause you to be aggressive towards your family, and they also kill the environment. So it's like, is there any benefit to a private jet? These accusations, Angelina Jolie, Mrs. Smith, they met on Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which is a spy movie. And I bet they wish there was a spy on this flight so that someone objective could go to trial and make statements. but it's saying that Brad allegedly choked one of his children with Angelina and grabbed his then wife by her head on their now infamous 2016 private plane, according to court documents obtained by Page 6. Page 6 is never wrong, by the way, and these are facts from Page 6, which is mostly entertainment, but facts. And then there's also a countersuit. Don't think there's not going to be a countersuit. Filed by the magnificent actress, 47, states that the Fight Club star, he was in the movie Fight Club, which is not lost on me here, that he's being charged with abuse, but was also in a movie called Fight Club where he lived in a house and punched himself and others in the face, unprovoked. Do I think that that's an admission of guilt from a previous movie that he did? No, I don't. But I think that it's a narrative. It's a narrative that's being used. The Fight Club star, 58, allegedly choked one of his children and struck another in the face and grabbed Jolie by the head and shook her. And that's, from my wrestling days, is known as a headlock. It's when you grab somebody by the head and then you lock your own hands, for those of you who are a little dim. At one point, he poured beer on Jolie. And, that's fun to do if someone's doing a keg stand. I did many in college, and I was actually pretty good at them. You have to relax your throat and let the beer go down. But if somebody's pouring it on you, no, that's bullying. That's bullying. At one point, he poured a beer on Jolie. At another, he poured a beer and red wine, which don't mix, by the way. You have to do one or the other. If you mix them, it makes you throw up. I have experience with this. I went to college, unlike you guys. He poured beer and red wine on the children. See, children, they're better with, I won't even say milk now because milk is bad. It's 2% or skim. But if he would have poured oat milk on them, that would have been better. Jolie allegedly tried to intervene at one point and grabbed her then husband from behind to try to stop him per countersuit. This seems like a wrestling match that I had in 1989 where it's like I was out of control at a party and I was pouring stuff out because people had too much to drink. And then somebody who was an alcoholic came behind me and grabbed me and tried to stop me from pouring the alcohol out. To get Jolie off his back, I mean, there's no crime there. I mean, we're all trying to get these women off our back at some point. Figuratively, include that in the clip. If you're going to use one, don't frame me, Shannon, because I know you are a woman. Even though you are on my side, I don't want you on my back. To get Jolie off his back, Pitt threw himself backwards. That's called a stand-up in wrestling. It's when you're standing up, someone's trying to hold you down, much like they're trying to do on this network to me. And then you throw your weight backwards into them, injuring Jolie's back and elbow, the documents allege. She had a back and elbow injury from that. And that's more of a chiropractic issue than it is domestic at that point. Children rushed in, adopted and biological, because they have both. And they probably joined forces on this one. If, there's some kind of a physical altercation, the adopteds and the bios come together as a force. Like the Wonder Twins, I don't know if you remember that. One would become an animal and the other one would become a form of water, which I think probably happened here, from what I'm gathering. Children rushed in and all bravely tried to protect each other. Okay, protection is important on a private jet. Before it was over, I'm choked one of the children, and before it was over, Pitt, sorry, I can't see, choked one of the children and struck another in the face. Some of the children pleaded with him to stop. They were all frightened. Many were crying. In September 2016, Pitt was under investigation, which is this what this podcast is about. Now, he's under investigation again from this podcast, although I'm a fan of his acting. FBI over the incident. However, authorities, this podcast, authorities did not pursue criminal charges against the actor, who revealed in September 2009 that he got sober. That's a big step for Brad. I'm happy for him. Same thing I did. Got sober. Didn't take this kind of an ugly private jet incident. I'm more of a helicopter guy anyway. But none of that happened with me. I just had to go number one too much in the night. And that's what got me thinking I better stop drinking. It wasn't a domestic abuse incident. It was just having frequent urination episodes in the night and getting close to wetting the bed. So once you go through that, you go, I got to clean up my act. Or you have a domestic spat on a private jet. Either way, both of us are actors. Both of us have a lot going for us. And both of us have a lot to lose. And both of us are handsome. Both of us are really handsome. Brad's actually a little bit older than me. So we're the same but different, but a lot of similarities, but a little bit different. So this is an unfortunate, there's suits and then countersuits and then resuing and then, it's all in the civil and then criminal charges and then an appeal. It's just all kinds of criminal terms. I personally love pleading no contest to be like, I'm out of the competition. I just want to go home. I'm taking my ball and I'm going home. No contest, judge. Sorry. You do not have any authority. If I don't recognize that this is even a contest, sorry. Sorry, not sorry, judge. You are a dumpster fire. No contest. I'm pleading with you. No contest. And now I'm getting on my private jet and I'm leaving. And I'm not going to have my wife or children on there because I don't want any risk of any kind of a domestic happening on it. So I'm going to get on my private jet and I'm going to fly to my Malibu mansion and I'm just going to be alone. And by alone, I mean with several girlfriends. So Tom and Gisele don't want to end up like Brad and Angelina. That's my point. Mike, where are you going with this? Where are you going with this? Calm down and take some ADHD medication if you don't know where I'm going with this. Pop some pills, take a nap, and just relax because I'm getting to a point. Am I taking the long way around? Yeah. It's called not cutting corners on this podcast. We don't cut corners, even in a small, rectangular studio.
This smoke break is brought to you by YoDelta.com, the official Getting High sponsor of the Gas Digital Network.
We don't cut corners here. So what are you getting at? That's what I'm getting at. Best case scenario, Tom and Gisele huddle up and they go at it and they take it to life and score a bunch more touchdowns and win a lot more championships together. Or they get on a private jet and it turns into WWE. Or Skankfest. This sounds like Skankfest, what Angelina is describing here. Relationships are difficult. We all have our challenges. But you can't choke and you can't spin kick people on a private jet. First of all, there's not that much space. And then people are jumping on each other's backs and it just gets messy. And where is the pilot in all of this? Where is the pilot or the stewardess who's they're so strict with us on commercial flights. Your tray table's not up. Your tray table's not up. It's like, how about there's a family fight on a private jet? You're yelling at me for having extra peanuts, yet this family is fighting each other on a private jet? It's not fair. That's not fair. That's privilege. That's private jet privilege. People can have a melee on a private jet, and I can't get extra peanuts? Crazy town. But hopefully by doing this podcast from the space of a closet, people will listen. That's my advantage. You guys at home who are not in college, who don't have gainful employment, living off your parents or the government, you are listening and you hear what I'm saying and you get it. And a lot of people don't get it, believe it or not. Shannon, let's go to plugs. Can you put up my dates, Shannon?
Yeah.
I'm at Comic Mike V on all social media platforms. I appreciate you guys being here. I love you. I respect you. and I want you to be better, and I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate you being on the YouTube premiere. We could use more YouTube numbers. My therapist said that if you want something, ask for it. So we could use some more YouTube numbers. Watch the YouTube premiere every Monday at 9, please. Please watch and please comment and please give us your feedback. I'm not doing this so that I can feel better about myself. I'm doing it to entertain and investigate and to help you guys. So please like, subscribe, and comment, and tell a friend if you got one. Many of you don't. But if you have one, tell a friend or mumble it to your mom or send a letter to somebody. A lot of you have pen pals. And just let them know that this podcast is great. We're the fastest rising. We will never stop rising. We will never stop rising. And we are always feeling our abundance. And we are always feeling gratitude. And we will not stop. And we can't stop. Diddy. And MikeVecchione.com for dates. There are my dates. And Phoenix has passed. And Bloomington has passed. And I'm in Las Vegas for Skankfest. And the week before at the Comedy Cellar Rio, October 9th through the 13th. Skankfest, October 14th through the 16th. Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, for all my Amish peeps. October 21st and 22nd at Wisecrackers. Baltimore, Maryland at Magooby's Joke House, November 10th for a benefit. And it's for cancer. And November 11th through the 13th, Comedy Works in Denver for all of you guys who think that weed being legal is your identity. So please come out and see me. I'm always working on my act. I'm desperately improving, and you will see the effects, and you will have a good time. And if you're coming out to forget your problems and to have a good time, you are coming to the right place, because I work hard on my act, and I go hard, or I go home, and I'm not going home because I live in a 1-bedroom, 4th floor walk-up. I'm coming at you. I'm going to be up in that green room, and I'm going to be doing my comedy. So that's happening. Special, I'm working on it. It's done. I'm just getting it color corrected and the sound adjusted from 800-Pound Gorilla, who's been great. And we are going to get it to a platform soon. And I will let you know what platform it's on. And then you will go and you will download the crap out of it. And you will enjoy it because it looks great. And it's going to sound great. And it's going to blow the top off this podcast. And we are going to be in a bigger studio than this once it hits. Believe you me. Which is something my mother used to say. Believe you me. And when I used to get uptight, she used to go, cool your jets. Cool your jets. Maybe that's what Angelina should have said to Brad when he flipped out on a private plane. Cool your jets. God, my mother was years ahead of her time. 82 now, still cooking. At Comic Mike V on all social media platforms, MikeVecchio.com for dates. If I'm not coming to your town, call your local club and demand it. Have a backbone. Demand Mike Vecchione come to your club. So just do it. In the words of Jordan, just do it. Shannon, what do you got?
I'm not going to put my camera on because I don't like how it looks on this side, so we're just going to look at you as I do.
Too sexy?
Yeah. You can follow me on Instagram at ShannonLee6982. Listen to my podcast, The Thing Is, Ding. We talk about bad dates, fighting, and ghosts. And also on the Gas Digital Network. You can listen to that wherever you listen to podcasts. Wherever you listen to Mike Vecchione Investigates, you can watch it live for free every single Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern at gasdigitalnetwork.com/live. That's absolutely for free, but the best way to support the show is to go to gasdigitalnetwork.com, use promo code MVI. You will get a 1-week free trial, which gives you access to every single episode of Mike Vecchione Investigates, as well as every single episode of every show on the Gas Digital Network, all for free for 1 week. If you have your own stories to submit or video investigations to submit, send it in to MikeVecchioneInvestigates@gmail.com. Go to podcastmerch.com for t-shirts, hoodies, and mugs. And if you listen on iTunes or YouTube, make sure to rate, review, tell a friend, leave a comment, subscribe. Every little bit of interaction helps the
Help
show.
the algorithm.
Yeah, and that's it.
Guys, please help the algorithm. I wanted to look for this story, Shannon.
Which one? I can try to find it.
I want control of it.
Okay.
Although I can't see, though. My eyes have gone bad. It's the royal couple. We already talked about Tom and Gisele. we segued very nicely into Brad and Angelina, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And now we're going to talk about Harry and Meghan, the royal couple. Okay, this is a marriage. It's a I wouldn't know if it's a marriage. It's because Brad and Angelina aren't even married anymore. But it's a relationship. It's a relationship episode. We're talking about relationships. And for those of you guys looking to get a relationship, what you want to do is you want to set the characteristics that you want in a person. You don't have to think about a specific person. Think about the characteristics that you want in a person and then go ahead and manifest it. That's what you do. You want somebody loving. Do you want somebody punctual? Do you want somebody clean? Do you want somebody beautiful? Yes, 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 and yes. So keep thinking about that, thinking about those qualities, and then someone shows up to your doorstep delivering a package and also is sexy, and you invite them in and you have a cup of coffee, and then boom, you're dating. And you're going out on a date and you're paying the bill. If you're a male watching this, I'm sorry, I'm a little old school that way. You're not splitting it. And I don't care if she got the shrimp. I don't care. Well, she got shrimp, Mike. I don't give a shit if she got the shrimp. You pay for it. You pay for it. Damn it, these guys make me mad. But she got the hollandaise sauce, and that's $3 extra. You suck it up and pay for it, man. Well, what if she doesn't come home with me? Stop being so results-orientated. Live in the moment. Do the best you can in the moment. And if that includes paying for 6 shrimp, and then she orders 3 more, and then you pay for them too. You go 100% before you expect anything back. God, that makes me mad. Complaining about the shrimp. She got extra shrimp. What am I supposed to do? Buy every woman in my town shrimp? Yes, you buy every woman in your town shrimp until you manifest love. You want big love? You start with small shrimp. That's what you do. You give 100% and maybe some of these women will respond. You're tired of being alone in your basement. I'm tired of you being alone in your basement. I'm tired of it for you, okay? Go out and spend some money on these women. God, always want her. What if she doesn't come home with you? She shouldn't come home with you. You're going to bitch about buying shrimp? She shouldn't come home with you. Manifest it, but you have to give a little. You have to create it. You have to create it by spending money. Because that is the wealth flow. You put it out, it comes back. You put it out, it comes back. You spend money on these women, it's going to manifest itself somewhere in a good place. But do it from the good. Do it from the goodness of your heart. Don't do it for a result. I'm paying for this, so I get to touch a boob. I get to touch a boob. 9 shrimp equals 1 boob. 12 shrimp equals 2. Stop doing perverted math, okay? Just in good faith, go out and treat another human being well. Make sure that they have a good experience. It's not always what you can get. It's what you give. And for you ladies too, okay? I'm talking at you too. Oh, I'm not gonna wear this perfume. I'm gonna save this for somebody who's a Tom Brady, who's a millionaire. No, what about a working guy who's trying his best, who's willing to put his money where his mouth is on the shrimp? You gotta have the right mindset. You can't be tit for tat. You can't be so results orientated. Put the good stuff out there and good stuff will come back to you. Even Charles is tired of greedy Harry and Meghan's acts. Now, this has been bubbling for a long time. Harry and Meghan, even at the Queen's funeral, which I know people in England are still mourning, they're still wearing black because now they have a King Charles. Queen Elizabeth is gone, and King Charles, and a lot of the pundits are calling him sausage fingers, has taken over the crown, and they're dealing with their kids now. You've got the good one, which is it's not Harry, Andrew? Shannon, what's his name? What's the older brother's name?
It's not Andrew. Hold on. Let me look it up real quick. Princes. Hold on.
The king is not amused.
Hold on. Sorry.
king?
Oh, God. Why is this so hard to find? Let me look at... Oh, William.
William. Prince William and his wife and Harry. And there's a rift, basically. Brother on brother. Brother against brother. It's Cain and Abel all over again. Except in English. Cain and Abel, but condescending. If there's one thing more certain in modern life than death and taxes, it's Meghan Markle and Prince Harry trying to steal the royal family's thunder. You're messing, you can't be messing with these people. These people are royalty, and they will have their revenge. Look at the Lannisters. You don't want to mess with them. You don't want to mess with the Lannisters. I'd have to bet gargantuan accounts of dollars that within 48 hours, first of all, this writer, I don't care for him. Gargantuan amounts of dollars. How about just $1 million? $1 million is a lot of money for people who buy the New York Post. Just dumb it down for us a little and started using a word like gargantuan. I almost couldn't read it. A new official photograph. Sure enough, yesterday, the Sussexes released 2 pictures from the One Young World Summit in Manchester, England. The one that made me laugh the loudest, I find absurd antics of these 2 deluded clowns increasingly hilarious, was a black and white image of them taken from the side in which Harry looks as miserable and zombified as usual since he sought freedom and happiness by ditching his country and family.
I have it up on the screen.
Yeah. That's actually a good picture. I don't know what this guy's talking about. He just doesn't like them, but that's no need to criticize someone's profile. Like, you could not like me, but my nose is a little long from the side. And if you just wanted to focus on my nose and be like, oh my God, that guy's got a nose for failure. And it's like, hey, if you hate me, just say you hate me, but there's no need to take a physical attribute and to exploit it and to like exploit it and make someone feel bad about it. Meghan looks like the cat that's got the cream as she gazes beautifully at her people who paid thousands to hear the whiny multimillionaire actress preach about equality and positivity. She was on the show Suits. She's not entitled. She worked to get that role on Suits. And I did watch a couple of episodes of Suits on an airplane. It's a good show, and she was great in it. So I'll defend her on that. Suits. Is that the name of the show, Shannon? Am I saying it right? Suits.
I think so. Let me double check.
Shannon, could you do some damn research? It was taken by celebrity photograph. Okay, we don't care about the celebrity photograph.
Yes, Suits.
Suits! There's just one problem they don't. The photo of Charles and William and their wives is a symbol of understated royal power. This is the current and future monarch of the United Kingdom. As such, they are the biggest stars in the world, dwarfing the celebrity wattage of any mere entertainment or sporting rivals. Brother against brother. Is Andrew going to be the king, Shannon? Is that how it goes? And Harry is left out in the cold, so it didn't matter if he kept his royal part of the royal family anyway. He wasn't going to be king as the bloodline. He wasn't going to be king anyway. So he might as well get an actress and move to the States. Meghan and Harry, by contrast, are now just a pair of B-list wannabes. God, this guy is shredding them. Pretending to have royal power so they can make money from it. If I was Prince Andrew, I would attack Harry with my navy. I would go the whole navy versus my brother. And it's like, if you want to go and just be on your own, then fine. But I still have the entire English armed forces at my disposal. And I will attack your marriage and your hot wife with my navy. I would even do it with the Coast Guard. I would because the Coast Guard is not as strong as the Navy. And I would be like, yeah, that's a slap in the face to be attacked by the Coast Guard. At least attack me with the Navy. To date, they've fueled their royal status by constantly trashing the royal family and the monarchy to anyone who will pay them a big check. God, I love big checks. And if you ask me to trash my family for a big check, guess what's coming? I will slander them. I will slander them to death. I will slander all over them. I will talk smack about my brother, my sister. I'll go in on my mom and dad, cousins, anybody. No one is off limits depending on how big the check is. Or you could do direct deposit or Venmo me. I will slam them, and I will not hold back on slamming them if the money is right. It's called capitalism. Maybe you've heard of it. But that shtick is wearing very thin. Yeah, according to this poor writer, how many more times can they wail in public about how awful their families are before we all stop listening? No, we're all going to listen. And more to the point, how many more times is King Charles going to let them? It's no secret that Charles wants to slim down the main royal family to a top tier of him, Camilla, William, and Kate, and their children, followed by a second tier of his youngest brother, Prince Edward, and wife Sophia, Countess of Wessex, and his sister, Princess Anne. It's time to scale down the royal family. It's time to scale them down. Downsizing. Too many royals. Too many people at the top. You gotta downsize and maybe exile them to the wall, is what I would say. Game of Thrones. If I was doing Game of Thrones terms, which is basically what this is, I would exile them to the Night's Watch. They would have to be on the Night's Watch.
By the way, you were right. So it's William is up after Prince Charles, and then it's William's son next,
Yes.
and then it would be Harry.
Oh my God, that's such a long... He's never going to outlive that. So why not just go, hey, I'm just going to go Hollywood and then bash them? It's classic Abel. Abel was the son who was jealous and angry, and classic Abel. And Cain had favor with God, and God loved Cain, and Cain loved God, and everything was plentiful and bountiful and everything. But then Abel was like, hey, what about me? What about me? What am I, a nobody over here? I can never please God? I'm never pleasing God. God is unhappy with me constantly. Well, it's how about when you're out herding the sheep, I just take a rock to the back of your head, and then we'll see how God likes that. Is that your boy? What's up with your boy? And that's not right either. That's not right either, but that's the situation that they're put in, the royals. He married a spunky American actress, and he's been kind of going at the crown. But don't underestimate the crown. These people would behead you and then put your head on a spike, if Game of Thrones history serves me correctly. And that's what they might do with them. It would really make the news if they beheaded both Harry and Meghan and then switched their heads so that Harry's head was on Meghan's body and Meghan's head was on Harry's body. And then they had confusing funerals. People showed up and they were like, wait, what? But do not underestimate the royal family. They're just cunning enough to pull a stunt like that. And I think Camilla, and no one mentions her anymore, but she cheated with now the king, and she's a queen in consort, which is, translation to our dimmer fans, kind of the queen. Hello, queen in consort, kind of the queen. I'm kind of the queen. My husband is the king, so I'm kind of the queen. But she cheated, and it paid off, and we are not celebrating the death of Diana. I think it was a tragedy, but the way that history moved on, where she was cheating and then she became the queen in consort, that's the way it played out. Rest in peace, Diana, because she would have been the queen in consort. It's a shame what's going on with the royals. You never like to see families, even of this stature, fight. I know in my own family, we have to talk it out. We don't tweet at each other. And we don't take pictures of each other's kids who are crying or making faces at any kind of family event, which is what the media seems to be doing now. Oh, little Prince something is making a snarly face. It's like they're children. Yes. He's eating a gummy bear. That's not national news. God, why doesn't the media just leave them alone? It's bad enough they're having family problems. Next thing you know, they're going to be fighting each other on a private jet. Angelina. That's back to Angelina Jolie. And let me see what else we got here, because those are 3 stories that people have been desperate for us to cover, and they're all relationships, and the stories don't end with just those stories. Those stories translate into your own life. You know, you need to treat people with respect and love people and come to the table, and this is a point that gets lost in a lot of podcasts, a lot of other podcasts, even podcasts that are done in bigger rooms, that you have to come with good faith. If you come with good faith, that's half the battle. And then if you're dealing with someone in bad faith, you still have to act from a moral plane, because it's going to work out much better than if you're acting from anger, which is the highest level of anger, or being vindictive. Okay? So come to the table with good faith, I would say. And if you're going to start a relationship and the woman wants shrimp, then buy her shrimp. I mean, just buy her a seafood platter. She goes to the bathroom, she orders shrimp, she comes back and there's a seafood platter there. God, you're going to be counting your goodwill there. That's going to be amazing what you're going to get back. Maybe not right in that moment, but what you're going to get back is amazing. So keep that in mind when you're going to Fuddruckers, wherever you guys eat. I have to make sure that there's a California serial, and we have to, because people are in danger. California serial killer toll reaches 7. I mean, I have to, because what's going to happen if you don't get into a functional place, this is what happens. You push all the anger down, you write a manifesto, and you start killing women, apparently. The number of victims of a possible serial killer in California has grown to 7, officials say. The shooting deaths of 6 men and the wounding of a woman in the Golden State could be the handiwork of a bold and brazen who's been prowling the streets for more than a year, police revealed. At least he's not killing women and going after men. Gender equality. Officials with the Stockton police said ballistic tests have linked 7 shootings occurred in Stockton and Oakland between April 2021 and September 2022. Last week, authorities announced 5 men had been ambushed and shot in the dark. God, being shot in the dark is really hard, because it's like you can't see, and then when you do see, it's that spark from the gun that's shooting you. So it's like, oh, finally I'm able to say, oh, I'm shot. It's just never, you can't win. Can't win with these firearms. Last week, authorities announced 5 men. On Monday, police said 2 additional cases had been linked. This definitely meets the definition of serial killer. What makes the difference is the shooter is just looking for an opportunity. Unfortunately, our victims were alone in a dark area. Stay out of dark areas, guys. We all go to a dark place sometimes in our lives, but hopefully there's not a guy with a gun there going to capitalize. Police would not say if all 7 shootings have been traced to the same gun. But what about ballistics? I love ballistics because I like to say I'm going ballistics. If I was working in ballistics, how are you today? I'm going ballistic. I'm going ballistic every day because I work here. None of the men murdered in the Stockton was robbed, beaten, or appeared to have known each other, but all the killings happened within a few miles of each other between July 8th and September. God, that's the worst time of year. That's the time of year you're supposed to be enjoying yourself more. It's the last of the warm. And then somebody has to go ruin it by shooting you. God, it stinks. Shootings do not seem to be related to gangs or drugs. Just a sicko. Just a sicko with a sick mind who hasn't dealt with his problems, who doesn't write in a journal, doesn't take cold showers, doesn't do a breathing practice. And even if they end up in a small studio, something triggers them. Literally. And they go out and they harm their fellow man, which is wrong. So whether you're getting a divorce, whether you're having a fight on a private jet, or whether you're humiliating your brother who is going to be the king, or shooting people in dark places in California, you've got to take care of your mental health. I think that's the message of this podcast and this episode today. Take care of your mental health. Don't push it down. It'll manifest itself in a bad relationship, or worse, a relationship where you go out and shoot strangers, which is the worst kind of relationship, okay? Because you didn't even get to know the person. Could be a great person that you're shooting in the dark, but you won't know it because you didn't take the time to get to know them. Instead, you just shot them in the dark. And that's not something you should be doing. You should be dealing with your problems differently. So that's our episode, guys. We went through 3 relationships and then one where a guy just is off the rails and apparently in California. And hopefully we catch him soon because he's shooting people in the dark. It's an hour 8 in, and that's our podcast. This was a solo episode. All the pressure was on me. And if I could relate it back to an earlier story, I think I responded like Tom Brady to this episode. We have no one in here, Mike. You're going to have to talk to the fans directly. You're going to have to address them straight down the middle. And that's what I did. I addressed you guys straight down the middle. I didn't sugarcoat anything because I know you guys love to eat sugar. I know you love to eat sugar, don't you? I didn't sugarcoat it. Went right down the middle, right at you. And I think you appreciate my honesty. And I'm shooting from the hip, which I stretch every other day. Things can quickly get out of control in a relationship, or if you're by yourself too long, from the stories that we've told, from the several investigations that we've done today. So get out, get some exercise, take a cold shower, do some breathing. Call your mom. Call your mom. Be like, hey, Mom, you know what? Why are you calling? Did you leave your laundry here? Mom, I want to tell you I love you. How about that? How about I just want to say I love you and I appreciate you for who you are? And she'll be like, who's this? Very funny, Mom. A lot of moms like to joke around. Very funny, Mom. I love you. Your life has been worthwhile. Thank you for raising me. Thank you for giving me everything that you could. And I love you. And I'll see you later, where you make me a 6-course meal. Just say it. Just say that. Just lay it out there. Be honest with your feelings, because it's going to pay dividends later. For Shannon, and that's it for Shannon. And for me, Mike Vecchione. This has been Mike Vecchione Investigates. We had a great episode. And we love and respect you. And we're getting better, and we're getting you better, and we're investigating the stories of the day and relating them to our lives. So be good. We love you, and we will see you next week.